My name is Otis Ragg, and I'm here on behalf of the Save the Southwest Florida Diocese that has sponsored a number of operations to try to help Father Stan over time, and many, many of you are members of, and we are so grateful not only for your help and your work, but the fact that you're here today, and with a nice welcome for Father Stan. I want to try to, we have some extra chairs here. If you just won't use the mic for me. I got 4 or 5 chairs down here, and there are several right here that are not being used. If anybody wants to come down while we start. What I want to do first this morning is thank you for being here. This is a really momentous and important occasion. And I want to just introduce first, I want to introduce people here. You've met the first person who's here. And I want to introduce you to a couple of more folks that will be very important to this occasion, and that is the Financial Relations Group you'll hear more about of Fort Lauderdale is a forensic accounting, business valuation, and consulting service firm with sister firms in Tampa and Rhode Island and other places. A wide variety of companies, attorneys, CPAs, professionals. This is a forensic firm that examines fraud, examines books in the toughest ways that you can possibly imagine. And here, representing them, that you will hear from in a couple of minutes, is Michael Crane. Identify yourself, please. Principal of the Financial Relations Group. He's a certified public accountant in Florida since 1984, holds several certifications in valuation, fraud examination, financial analysis. His practice focuses on forensic accounting, measurement of economic damages, and valuation of business intangibles. That's a pretty good job. Also, from that same field, and very important here, is Jerry McHale. He is a nationally recognized forensic accountant based in Fort Myers, 35 years of public accounting experience, partner, one of the founders of a very famous accounting firm. He is actively involved in the local business community, currently chairman of the board and acting chief executive officer of First Community Bank, and I believe a fellow parishioner of many of you. Who have I forgotten? Who have I forgotten? I think I haven't. Now, I'd like to ask Father Stan to open the meeting.
I see someone dressed in a shirt with peace, so I take this as a good sign. Right here, looking in front of me. I would like to begin with a prayer. I think that for the 16 months, I couldn't make it without God, and I think as I look at your faces, I see the church that really is alive and real, and it is the people. And so I think it will be appropriate to pray together to center us on God and on faith. And I thought that the most appropriate prayer, ecumenical prayer, would be Our Father. So I would like you to pray with me together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Thank you, Father. In your packets, there are press packets and there are member packets. You'll have our basic press release that's going out pretty much out to the world today. But there are some highlights that I think you, in order to understand the context of this, when you hear in a few minutes from Father Stan, that I want to mention some of those, and you will find them in your packets. And I think the most important thing, reason for this meeting is that a nationally known forensic accounting and valuation firm, whom you just met a principal, has completed a detailed investigation of church funds at St. Leo the Great Catholic Church in Bonita Springs, covering the 5 years that it was under the leadership of Father Stan. I would say the embattled Father Stan, and has determined that there is no evidence of fraud or misappropriation of church funds, period. The report by the Financial Evaluation Group is a stinging rebuke of the accusations made by Bishop Frank Duane. He publicized widely his allegation that Father Stan had not justified or accounted for at least $1 million in church funds. The forensic accounting firm said there is no evidence of fraud or misappropriation of parish funds, and they examined thousands of transactions that took place over that 5-year period. I'm going to quote a gentleman you're going to hear from, but he says, Michael Crane says, based on my work described in our report, I have not found evidence that Father Stan misappropriated monies or other property from St. Leo's Parish. He issued a 260-page report, if anybody's interested in skimming through it this morning. Father Stan will come and say it on his own, but we say it on behalf of the folks that we are to save the Southwest Florida Diocese, that Father Stan has told us that he hopes the investigation will bring to an end nearly 16 months of verbal abuse, public accusation from the bishop. Father Stan said he hopes that the bishop will apologize for his actions and restore his good name. I want to mention to you that the Financial Relations Group disagreed sharply with Bishop Duane's suggestion about something being missing which was not missing. And he also addressed a report, and that Mr. Crane will address, of Larson Allen, a CPA group in Maples, that issued a report that the bishop quoted. You'll find some very interesting data about that. Actually, their report and our report agree with one another, if you can believe that. The Financial Relations Group report states that the evidence uncovered did not corroborate critical remarks made by the bishop, who announced his accusation about Father Stan publicly, about this and other matters which the bishop was critical of Father Stan about. Father Stan says the financial accusations and other accusations that began a 16-month ordeal in which he was not even allowed to go on church property or minister to the sick. However, something that I think you know, but maybe the world doesn't, that during Father Stan's tenure at St. Leo's Church, membership grew by more than doubled to more than 2,400 families. Under the leadership of Father Stan, a highly successful $11 million capital campaign was done to raise money for church expansion, and I think it goes without saying that he was much beloved by church members and members of this community. In fact, it's interesting that after the capital campaign, the bishop praised Father Stan for his leadership. In placing Father Stan on leave, the bishop banned him from practicing any priestly duties, entering church property. He was forbidden to publicly say Mass, speak about his case, or leave the diocese without the bishop's permission. And he cut his salary to $500 a month. You will hear in a few minutes that Father Stan is breaking his silence after 16 months for lots of good reasons that I think you already know, but you will learn a lot in that presentation. I want to say that Father Stan has repeatedly denied that there was ever any evidence of wrongdoing during his 5 years at St. Leo's Church. He has worked diligently and followed church laws these last 16 months, going through all avenues of appeal within the church, and it appears clear that the bishop has no intention of settling this matter in a just and timely manner. Now I would like to introduce Mr. King to give us the highlights of his study of this audit.
Good morning. My name's Michael Crane. I'm with the Financial Evaluation Group, and I work out of the Fort Lauderdale, Florida office. As mentioned in the introduction, I am a forensic accountant. I've been a licensed certified public accountant in the state of Florida for over 25 years. I'm also a certified fraud examiner. I'm going to keep this as non-technical as possible because you probably don't want to hear a lot of accounting minutia. I don't want to put you to sleep either. Let me make my points in 3 areas. 1, after a detailed investigation of over 100 hours by my firm, we have not found evidence of fraud or misappropriation of assets at St. Leo's Parish of the $1 million that Bishop Dwayne claims are, quote, unsupported and questionable expenses. Put another way, I have not found any evidence that parish monies were spent for non-parish purposes. Second, I have found the bishop's accounting firm, Larson Allen, who formed a conclusion that Father Stan breached his fiduciary duty to the church, was based upon their opinion of poor record keeping at the parish. The bishop's accounting firm, like me, did not find any evidence of fraud or misappropriation of assets at St. Leo's Parish while Father Stan was its pastor. Third, despite Bishop Dwayne's recent claims against Father Stan, I also found that the diocese knew about St. Leo's Parish record-keeping practices since at least 2003, before Father Stan even arrived at the parish. And in September 2008, 3 years ago, the Diocese Pastors Peer Review Committee attributed most of its parish's record-keeping problems to inadequate bookkeeping function at the parish, and at that time, 2008, they did not blame Father Stan. So in short, I have not found the $1 million was misappropriated or is missing, and neither did the bishop's accounting firm.
Well done. Thank you very much. And now some remarks from Jerry McHale.
Getting old. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jerry McHale. I am a parishioner. I've been a parishioner since 2004. I'm really pleased to have this number of people.
Can you speak up, please? You have people in the video here.
Oh, okay, we can do that. Okay. Again, my name's Jerry McHale. I'm a parishioner and have been since 2004, prior to the arrival of Father Stan. I would like to thank everybody that's here today, because I have a tremendous amount of faith in Father Stan, and I thought maybe I was lost. I thought maybe it was just me, but seeing this crowd today vindicates my thoughts that many of the parishioners probably feel the same way I do. Having said that, I have no dogs in the fight. I am a forensic accountant. I'm a federal bankruptcy trustee, cases all over the country. Since joining the parish in 2004, I saw a resurrection of the parish from a moribund small parish into a vibrant parish. I think the parishioners all take pride in that while we may be one of the richest parishes in the diocese, we also have among our members some of the poorest families in the parish, in the diocese. I, for one, am very proud of what we do with those, and I'm extremely proud of what Father Stan has done in bringing and elevating the parish to the level that it's at. I'm not certain why we're here today. I'm not certain why we're here today because the $1 million allegation appears to be, at best, a red herring. I don't know why it was brought. It borders, to me, on character assassination. Having said that, if you went through the bishop's letters, there were 4 areas that the bishop touched on. One was the credit card charges. I've reviewed Michael Crane's work, and believe me, I've known Mike before from other cases. Mike knows what he's doing. I'm very satisfied with the work that he did. I'm very satisfied with his approach to the work and reached the same conclusions he did. Secondly, the bishop raised issues of tuition. If you go back in the tuition issue, the tuition was part of an employment contract that was granted in 2006. It's always been there. There's no secrets. Everybody knew it was there. And it existed for that person, for her children, in the prior parish that she was with. Again, no secrets. Then there's an allegation of some $140,000 plus paid to a painting contractor who was Father Stan's brother. The work was performed. The work was performed. It was performed well. It was performed at market or below market rates. Again, that $140,000 is in the alleged $1 million. It just doesn't hold water. Lastly, there was a comment from the bishop on certain consulting fees, approximately $45,000. Those consulting fees were during a campaign that raised over $11 million. The consulting fees worked out to $30 an hour. I don't think I charged $30 an hour since 1974. It's been a long time anyway. The reason why I volunteered to help Father Stan on this, and not really to help Father Stan, I volunteered to get involved in this because I was very perturbed, had great angst about how this was brought. The story seemed to me to be one-sided. The bishop sent his letters to us as parishioners in the weekly bulletins, and yet the bishop always seemed to have a one-sided approach. I've been doing this since 1974, and every time I go to court, I hear the one side present their case, and I say, why are we here? And then I hear the other side present their case, and I say, oh, now I know why we're here. And to me, that's just what we have here, is unfortunately, our parishioners have only heard one side of the story. They needed to hear both sides. And so that bothered me. It just bothered me the way it was presented. Further, I think the bishop referred to a gag order and the potential for violation of a gag order. My experience has been if there's a gag order in effect, the gag order applies to both parties. I don't know why we wound up in the situation we wound up in. I hesitate to go into this, but as we all know, we all have marks on us because of it. The Catholic Church has been faced with some problems in recent times over sexual abuse scandals and things like that are real problems. Parishioners are seldom, if ever, made aware of those problems. Here we have a case of an alleged wrongdoing, and it becomes public knowledge, again, to my way of thinking, almost character assassination. I don't understand it. That's why I came forward. Mention of a breach of fiduciary duty. Well, what is fiduciary duty? And who owes the fiduciary duty to who? And I think from a parish priest standpoint, I think Father Stan has certainly fulfilled his fiduciary duty to me. He's brought me well within the church and makes me feel proud to be a practicing Catholic. If there's a breach of fiduciary duty here, my question would be, since this internal control system existed, or lack of internal controls existed since 2003, is the breach of fiduciary duty from Father Stan to the diocese, or is it from the diocese to the parishioners? And again, that's why I'm here. I can't say how overjoyed I am to see the number of people that we have here this morning. It just reaffirms my faith that maybe I wasn't out on the left wing all by myself, that what I saw, a lot of other people saw. Thank you. Thank you.
And now, after 16 long months of silence, we're privileged to hear from Father Stan.
Let everybody move a little closer together. There's people outside, a dozen people who won't hear this. There's plenty of room over there on that left side.
Ed, thank you for coming. I thank you all for coming and for hearing such a kind words. And I really now would like to share my story. I try to be as quick as possible. I want to share with you my side of the story, the truth in regards to the accusation that Bishop Frank Duane has made against me. I have remained silent for 16 months, maintaining the gag order that Bishop Duane imposed on me when he placed me on administrative leave effective July 23, 2010. Now, however, in the interest of correcting published misinformation and restoring my good name, I believe it is necessary for me to speak out on my behalf. A long time ago, I learned from my father and my mother that you have to stand by what is right, regardless of how high price you must pay. That simple truth was reinforced for me when I joined the Solidarity movement to stand up against the injustice of communism. Now I am once again standing up for what is right. I am standing up for myself and for those people who have supported me in countless ways. The public statements made by the bishop have greatly damaged my reputation, and now it is the time to set the record straight. What began with the bishop's anger over my disobeying his command to fire a valued employee spiraled into unbearable sequence of events for me and for many friends, supporters, and members of St. Leo. I was put in the unfair position of not being able to defend myself against allegations that defame my character. Against the advice of some, I have decided not to press legal action against the church. This is not who I am. I still believe in the mission of the Catholic Church, the church that I served for 20 years, and it is my choice and my decision not to tarnish what so many people value and hold in high esteem. I do not, however, believe in the bishop's form of procedural justice, and I no longer hold out hope that the bishop will seek the truth or justice in treatment of me. I hope and pray to be able to put these past 16 months behind me. I believe there are lessons to be learned by many people from what was experienced by all of us. And I hope and I pray that we can grow and be transformed from this experience. In June 2005, I was invited by Bishop John Nevins to become the priest in charge of St. Leo the Great Catholic Church. Over time, and with the help of many dedicated volunteers and staff, the parish was thriving spiritually and physically. In 2008, as a response to the growth and needs of the parish, a capital campaign was developed to fund the renovation of the church and building of new parish life and educational center. Through the dedication and hard work and support of so many great people like you, the capital campaign raised approximately $11 million. This was during the worst recession that we have experienced in years. In September 2008, I hired a wonderful music director who was well loved by our parish community and proved to be invaluable over the nearly 2 years of his employment. Yet in November 2008, shortly after hiring him, I received a phone call from the bishop advising me he must be fired immediately. The bishop could not provide a reason, and in good conscience, I couldn't fire someone for no cause. I admit I was disobedient to the bishop on this occasion, but I know in my heart and in the eyes of God, I did the right thing. Almost 2 years later, at the general meeting with Bishop Duane and his chancellor, the subject of firing of our music director came up. The bishop was very agitated that I had not followed his instructions. Several days later, I met with the chancellor who told me, and I quote, "Stan, if you comply with bishop's instructions, you will go far in this diocese." I make a point of stating this because I believe this is the core of the bishop issue with me. I anger Bishop Duane by not obeying him. His retaliation began that day when he fired Director of Religious Education, another trusted employee. I continue a month later, and it continued a month later when he fired our music director and placed me on administrative leave. At the onset, I was told that I could not return to the parish property for any reason, that I had to keep all information strictly confidential, and that I could not publicly communicate about my administrative leave. In addition, all church staff members were instructed by the diocese that no mail or phone calls were to be forwarded to me, and that no information was to be given on my whereabouts. I did not receive forwarded mail for 9 months. Over the weekend of July 24 and 25th, Bishop Duane announced at the masses at St. Leo Parish that he had put me on administrative leave. He went a step further at 10 a.m. Mass on July 25 by announcing to the entire congregation that I had a child. And yes, I do have a daughter, and the most beautiful gift from God. Bishop Duane was made aware of my child at a meeting in June 2008, where I acknowledged my child. It was agreed at that meeting that this information shared would remain strictly confidential. Bishop Duane accepted my decision to remain in the priesthood, and no further discussion arose with regard to my child ever. I deeply regret the way this information was released publicly, and I implore and I ask all of you to respect the privacy and protection that my daughter rightly deserves. In the media eruption that followed, the bishop's spokesman commented to the local newspapers and television reporters that the diocese had financial concerns and the audit was ongoing, which would take weeks or months to complete. Since then, Bishop Duane has publicly cast many unfounded allegations about me around the parish, the community, and beyond, by means of the parish bulletins, mass mailings, the local and statewide media, and the internet. A series of communication between Bishop Duane and me since then showed that my attempts at cooperation with the process were continually thwarted by the bishop. On August 19, I was fortunate to be invited to Washington, D.C. to meet with the papal nuncio, the Archbishop Pietro Sambi, who is now since deceased. I was accompanied by my good friend, Archbishop Harry Flynn. Archbishop Sambi and I discussed at length all that had occurred since Bishop Duane's actions in July, and he advised me on my future communication with Bishop Duane. A week later, Bishop Duane summoned me to a meeting, which I attended with my friends and advocate, Father Dennis Dees, president of St. Thomas University. I asked Bishop Duane for details of the accusation he was placing against me, and he advised me that the purpose of the meeting was for me to answer the questions. In October 1st, meeting with the bishop, he told me for the first time that there was a financial investigation taking place. On the advice of my advocate, Father Dees, I declined to sign authorization for credit card companies to forward my personal information to the bishop. I asked the name of the accounting firm handling the investigation to be able to meet with them, and I was told the information was not available to me. On October 22nd, Bishop Duane published yet another letter to parishioner of St. Leo Church, advising that lack of resolution to the investigation was due to my lack of cooperation. Bishop Duane acknowledged, however, that the parish building campaign funds were found to be in order, but that other financial issues had raised questions. While the bishop has stated that I continuously delay the investigation, that is not true. As a matter of fact, I finally learned of the name of the accounting firm fully 6 months after the start of this ordeal. Within 1 week, I scheduled a meeting with the accounting firm. In early November 2010, with still no resolution in sight, and on the advice of Archbishop Sambi, I wrote to Bishop Duane petitioning him to bring the preliminary investigation to a close, or at the very least offer me a proper forum in which I could defend my ministry. A month later, I received a letter from Bishop Duane stating that preliminary investigation was concluded, and I was officially relieved of my duties as administrator of St. Leo Parish. The diocese was going to proceed with the imposition of possible penalty based on what they perceived as my continued relationship with females. This is an untrue allegation, which I denied then, and I continue to deny until this day. The bishop also indicated that I would need a canonical advocate and offered to appoint one for me. Instead, it's true. Instead, I asked Father Kevin McDonough to serve as my canon lawyer. I am grateful for Father McDonough the support he gave me both emotionally and spiritually, as well as all he has done to bring this issue to a peaceful and just resolution. My civil attorney accompanied me to a meeting with the accounting firm Larson Allen of Naples. We learned that they were hired only to obtain financial information and not to do a forensic audit, as Bishop Duane had stated in letters to me and to St. Leo parishioners so many months later. I answered all the questions posed to me and provided copies of all credit statements that were requested. I also advised the accountant that they should contact me if additional documentation was needed, but no additional information was ever requested. Within a week of this meeting with the accounting firm, the bishop published yet another letter to the parishioners of St. Leo Church, noting again that the delay in the process was a result of my unwillingness to cooperate. Without any end in sight, my canon lawyer, Father McDonough, requested intervention from the Congregation for the Clergy, which is responsible for matters relating to priests. As a result, in early June, nearly 1 year after I had been placed on administrative leave, the bishop assigned a promoter of justice, or church prosecutor, Father Joe Waters of the Diocese of St. Petersburg. I had hoped this appointment would be made by the Congregation for the Clergy, but I was disappointed to learn that rather than involving an independent party, the promoter of justice was chosen by Bishop Duane himself. Father McDonough has made me aware of the lengthy time involved in resolving canonical issues, and I believe we have been very patient, as have the parishioners of St. Leo. Unfortunately, little progress has been made toward resolution. In the meantime, I am not allowed to minister to the sick and those who are dying. I can only celebrate the Eucharist by myself. I am not allowed to travel outside the boundaries of the Diocese of Venice without express approval from Bishop Duane for the duration of this process. And although the bishop has claimed that I have been paid full salary, my salary has been reduced to $500 a month. In July 2011, almost a year to the day of the beginning of this nightmare, the bishop published another letter to all parishioners, advising his interpretation of the result of the Larson-Allen Financial Review. The bishop's careful crafted letter indicated to many that I was a thief, interpreted by some that I embezzled money, or at very least misappropriated at least $1 million. This was absolutely not true, and it became clear to me that I need to stand and defend myself. To do so, I hired experts to review the report prepared by Larson and Allen. Michael Crane, with the Financial Valuation Group, is well-respected forensic accountant and certified fraud examiner. He performed an extensive analysis of the Larson-Allen report and all other financial issues raised by the Bishop Duane. This forensic report clears my name of any wrongdoing. In fact, the only thing the Larson-Allen report actually concluded was that what Mr. Crane already told you, called poor bookkeeping. I also want to thank Jerry McHale for the work he performed and for the kind words that you have said today. Many of you know Mr. McHale locally as a certified public accountant and forensic auditor, but for me, he was a member of St. Leo Parish, who volunteered his services without pay or compensation to review the records and make an independent assessment of the charges made up by Bishop Duane. In summary, I want to be clear with everyone affected by diocesan action against me. I have never taken anything from St. Leo the Great Church that did not belong to me personally. I have always respected and tried my best to serve each one of you and member of St. Leo, and for the matter of fact, the wonderful community of St. Leo, Bonita Springs, and Naples. And my personal thanks to all parishioners of St. Leo who have stood by me, and also to the many members of Bonita Springs and Naples community, whom I have the privilege working and serving, and who have also spoken up in support of me. When all is said and done, I will always remember the greatest transformation I have witnessed was the transformation of our spirits, our love for God, and our ability to do great things together in the name of God. Thank you so much.